Cable news outlets are relying on defense industry consultants and their war profiteers to give their audience information about international conflicts. And the problem has reached a peak with the conflict between Israel and Palestine. But these networks don't even bother to tell their viewers that they're hearing propaganda, pure propaganda, from the men who profit off the coverage and the carnage. Ring of Fire's Farron Cousins joins me now to talk about what's happening. Oh, God, this is maybe the only thing that saves CNN. I mean, save them for a little while as long as the war lasts. Have you ever seen such a disgusting process, though? I saw it with Ukraine. Ukraine parade in all of these people, make them sound like they have all of these qualifications, and don't tell the viewing audience, and oh, by the way, this person makes $250,000 a year just sitting on the board of Boeing. That's what's happening here. No disclosure whatsoever.
Yeah, as usual, the folks at The Lever did a phenomenal job exposing this. And one of the worst offenders right now is MSNBC.
Oh, terrible.
They keep bringing on this guy, Jeremy Bash.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bash, they're like, oh, he's a foreign policy expert. Trust us, Mr. Bash, he knows everything there is about everything that's happening. Well, I'm sure he does, because Mr. Bash is actually getting a ton of money from the defense industry.
Yeah,
you know,
been.
Right, it sits on the boards, part of these consultancy groups that are really just front groups for these massive defense contractors, because that is where all the money comes from.
Okay, so they're on the board. They're on the board for a reason. Raytheon puts them on the board because they know they're talking heads, and they don't mind paying them $250,000, $500,000 a year to be their talking heads. But by damn, there should be a responsibility of the network to say, look, what you're listening to could be construed as propaganda. What you're listening to by Jeremy Bash, first of all, was mostly bullshit. When he delivered what he was saying, it was nonsense. And if you followed what he was saying and followed up on what he was saying, it was pure nonsense. But the point is, MSNBC is shameless about this. They don't really care. Just like Fox, just like CNN, you're seeing these people everywhere that are showing up, and there's, just rattling the sabers of war like they did with Ukraine. It was worse with Ukraine than it is right now, and nobody paid any attention to that.
Well, and one of the big things that is so frustrating about this is the viewers have no idea. If you're watching MSNBC or CNN and Fox News, you're probably not the kind of person that's going to go and read this report from The Lever. Right. So you're not going to know that you're sitting there getting this defense industry propaganda from people who, it doesn't matter which country it is. They'll rattle the sabers against Russia, against China, against North Korea. And sure, a lot of those countries are bad, but that doesn't mean we need to go and send tanks and bombs and planes and start World War III. But that is what these people deep down want, because that's the way they make money.
Yeah, they're rewarded according to, if Raytheon sells more missiles, they make more money. Look, if you think this is not even a hidden handshake.
Right.
This is go out there, Dennis Ross, ambassador, Dennis Ross on Meet the Press, okay? Nobody says, well, Mr. Ross, this is some pretty strong language you're using right now. Tell us about your affiliation with West Exec, right? Talk about that. Yeah, tell us about your affiliation with this company that makes a ton of money for being the mouthpiece for every weapons manufacturer on the globe. Not a word is said, even on something like Meet the Press, that you would hope is maybe a little higher standard, not much, but a little higher standard within NBC.
Right, and West Exec is just one of these many consultancy groups, because that's how they label themselves, and they get their money from Raytheon, they get their money from Boeing. And then we've, thrown a commercial here, and suddenly it's a commercial for Boeing. Like, oh, look at our new jet engines. Well, Why are you advertising a jet engine? That doesn't make any sense to me.
You're going to go buy a jet engine, or maybe buy a missile. You're going to go buy a missile because, look, that's part of the deal. Raytheon, give us your advertising dollars. We're going to put on your war whore. Your war whore, Dennis Ross, is going to show up, and he's going to encourage more war in Ukraine. He's going to encourage more war in the Mideast. And it's a deal that you would think that they don't even keep it quiet. The only people who keep it quiet is the people that have them on talking this propaganda, and these talking heads, the hosts, don't have enough damn sense to say, tell me about your relationship with Raytheon, right?
Right. And honestly, that's probably the biggest problem at all, because these people, they develop audiences who trust them.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
They tune into these corporate media outlets and they say, I watch this person because I know they're going to tell me the truth. And they're not. This person is not telling you that this other person on the side of the camera, whether it's somebody that the host chose or maybe the host was told, you have to talk to these people. Now, this kind of seems like this instance where one of these hosts needs to take a stand. I get it. I mean, you get lots of money from it. But damn it, come clean. Say on the air, listen, say, look, I'm probably going to be cut off in a few minutes, but let me tell you what's happening.
Well, they would lose their millions of dollars. The host would lose their millions of dollars of money that they're paid to keep their damn mouth shut. The person across the table with them is nothing but a war whore, a war pimp that wants more war because he's working for Raytheon. He's working for the weapons industry. And the interviewer doesn't have enough character, doesn't have enough class to say, you know what, I listen to what you're saying, but you work for Raytheon, don't you? Raytheon pays you $500,000 a year, don't they? Don't even ask the question. It's the most disgusting issue that's happening right now. Right now, we have become a nation that makes our economy is propped up with weapons. Yeah. I mean, that's what we do. We're a weapons manufacturing country. That's where we make our money, that and pharmaceuticals. And this is just an extension. How about when Donahue got fired, right?
Yeah, that's
all the way back to Donahue getting fired over Iraq when he said, this is nonsense, this is bullshit. Why are we invading Iraq when Saudi Arabia is the people that caused the bombing on 9/11?
Exactly. All he did was, ask the questions that should be asked and speak out against it, obviously. And they wasted no time. Again, the liberal network wasted...
Liberal bullshit. I mean, liberals don't even look like liberals anymore. I don't even recognize them anymore. Used to be we would talk about the right-wing Republicans doing this kind of thing. Now, Fox is doing it, but so is MSNBC, so is CNN, so is ABC. They're all doing it without showing any shame whatsoever to say that this person you're listening to has a direct interest in fomenting war, in promoting war, in keeping war alive. When Donahue did it, when he told the truth, by God, he lost his job. Matter of fact, guy that I used to be a law partner with, Joe Scarborough, replaced him. And Joe was willing to say whatever the hell had to be said, just like he's doing right now.